Hello Australia, welcome to episode 514 of The Couch, our last before we have a break, but we've got a big one coming your way. Check out who's on the show today. We have got Ramsay Street's Dr. Karl coming in for a bit of a chat. And of course, Cara Walker talked about palm oil and more. Later on, Cameron Lynch is in with all the latest movie reviews. And we'll talk to a great author that's written a great book about Italian superstitions. Her name is Madilina. And later, opening the show, is this wonderful young girl, which you'll see at the other side of the opener. This is The Couch.
It's showtime on the couch. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can watch it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. Oh, it's showtime on the couch.
There you go, what a great show coming up. Cara Walker, as you saw in that opener, she's coming up very, very soon. So if you want to know about palm oil and how bad it is for us, stay tuned, and that and much more. But this young girl, her name is, there it is there, Siobhan Cotchin. I've got to get it right because I called her Siobhan before, but it's Siobhan Cotchin. You can find out all her details on her Facebook page. Look at the right camera. They say she's got a brand new song which she's written herself. It's an original. It's called All Night, All Right. And on that tune, here she is to open the show.
He said, "You make me nervous. I'm just so new at this. I've messed it up 1,000 times. Can we make things better? Better. Boy, you got a heart of gold. I can't bring myself to saying no. Take off your coat. Let's make things better. Better. I wanna talk to you all night. Lay
Wonderful young talent. Her name is Siobhan Cotchin. There's her CD, or Epic as they call it. It's called Stories. Check it out on her Facebook page. Please just do a search on her. She's a wonderful young performer and she'll be performing at the end of the show again. Can't wait to see her. Someone that never performs, because this comes naturally for her, talking green, is our very own Faerie Cara Walker. Welcome back.
Hello, Fred. Great to see you.
Nice to have you back on the couch.
Thank you very much.
What have you been up to? I know you're like me, you're moving house.
I am. I'm moving home, moving my family into a new house and settling into the new year.
When you move houses, do you have to, because you're a green person,
Yeah.
do you have to find a house that's green or just one that's suitable and then you convert it?
Yeah, well, I go for an old house rather than building a new one. So, yeah, and one that's got really beautiful space to grow veggies and it's solar passive, so we don't have high energy use. So, definitely it's high on my priority list.
So you look at that, that's
one.
great,
Absolutely.
isn't it? So you live
Yeah.
and breathe the things you preach.
Well, you have
If
to. You
that's
have to walk
what
the
you
talk,
believe in.
otherwise you're just a quack. So.
Well, what are we talking about today that we're
Well,
not going
today,
to crack
after
about?
8 years of being on the show, we have never discussed palm oil. Could you believe that?
And I just said to you, I said, oh, you know that thing called palm olive oil, palm olive dishwashing liquid? Is
Yeah.
that got palm oil?
It
You said, yes,
is.
it has.
It is, yeah.
And the name is so obvious.
It
isn't
is.
it?
I know,
Palm
you don't even
olive.
think of it. Yeah, good marketing. And there are so many products that are in the supermarkets that have palm oil in it. So basically, it's a tree that is extremely good at producing oil.
So it comes from a tree.
It comes from a tree, and it has a fruit, and also it has a nut. So there's two different oils that come
So
from
why
it.
is it bad?
Because of the way that they produce it. They clear it. It is so efficient that it's a cheap way to get oil. So they're growing more and more of them. So they're cutting down, so it's deforestation in mainly Indonesia and Malaysia. And it's causing a lot of trouble. There are a lot of animals becoming extinct, on the verge of extinct, such as...
We actually looking at some
we can
pictures
see
right
some
now.
horrible pictures, yeah. So these are the deforestation sites. Once upon a time, not too long ago, a decade or so ago, that was beautiful land where there would have been habitat for rhinos, for elephants, for tigers and for
There you go.
orangutans. And now it's being cleared for oil.
And why isn't the world standing up and saying, no, stop this?
Well, I guess it's money. Money is always
Commercialism?
the way. Well, our palm oil is so popular. Did you know 50% of the products in a supermarket has
Well,
palm oil in it?
I didn't, but
Yeah.
I bet you we do once you name some of the
You
products.
have a go.
Can
Well,
you tell us?
if you look at vegetable oil,
Yep.
most of that would be palm oil. So things such as your vegetable,
vegetable oil.
Yeah, that's palm
What
oil.
about rice oil?
That's rice oil.
Okay,
yeah, if
so
it's
that
pure
would-
rice oil.
okay, so
yeah,
that
yeah.
is-
So things such as your, like your noodles and your biscuits and confectionery, they've all got small amounts of oil, but that's usually palm oil.
What does
'cause
palm
it's
oil
cheap.
actually do? Does it add flavouring? Does it add
Well,
something?
oil, you need oils in cooking because it adds, it's the way that they cook things.
Can
and
you buy it
texture.
in Australia as palm oil? Can you go into the shop
People
and say,
do buy it to use it for products such as making beauty body care products and
Really?
for cleaning products because it's cheap. It's the best way. If you're going to get cheap stuff, there we go. Look, that's making common oil pastels there for children as well. We never
So
think
we're
of that.
not talking that it's unhealthy. We're talking about the whole...
I'm not going into the health
Yeah.
side of it here. Yeah, it's more the sustainable side.
We're saying
And so
we're killing
it's-
animals, we're
it's-
getting rid of
Yeah,
forests.
it's everywhere. So just think, people don't think about how much it's used. So the first thing would be, okay, oil is everywhere, and what's it doing? It's hurting from deforestation, and also there's a lot of traditional people that have been displaced from
Yep.
their home because they've taken away the habitat, they've polluted the water, and there's no food for them. So traditional people from these lands have had to be moved on as well.
Do we have some of the offending countries that are the high rating ones?
Malaysia and Indonesia.
The Asian
Yeah,
countries?
it is. That's the biggest problem.
What do we look for when we look at countries that are doing this?
Yeah.
Is there an ingredient that's in with all of them? Is it the poverty? Is it third world?
It's just money, Like,
So
I
they
mean,
need
but
the
to be honest, there are a lot of people who had a very bad way of life, and then this industry have come in, and it's given them a way to actually feed their family now. So people say, well, palm oil is bad, let's boycott palm oil, but you can't do that. It's like saying, let's stop driving cars. It's not going to happen.
It's like
not
Malaysia, I suppose, having the rubber plantation, the trees, they cut the trees
yeah,
down to get the rubber
it's not
out.
going to be the solution. We just want to look at sustainable practices. So first of all, we want to
Yep.
stop deforestation because, we've got this climate change problem. We need to keep the old growth forest, thriving and a place for habitat for the wildlife. Next of all, we need to, I thought a picture came up on screen there.
No, just a beautiful young lady. Not me,
Oh,
of
there
course.
he is.
I confused myself. It's because I was wearing my glasses. Oh, there you go. Well, I do look good. Okay, sorry. What do we do to stop this?
So
to
you can
get rid of
actually
it all?
have a look at the labels, and labels is the thing we've talked about a lot. We talked about it with, you know, for the GMO, for organics. It is a big problem in Australia that things aren't properly labelled. So we really, really want to push to get labelling done properly, because you want to know, okay, if palm oil is going to be in my product, I want to know if it's from a sustainable supplier.
And if you want to avoid it as well.
Yeah, if you want to avoid it as well, rather than saying vegetable oil. You know, pretty much if it says vegetable oil.
So is that how they mask it? They call it vegetable oil, and
Yeah.
you just have to know that vegetable oil has palm oil
It is,
in it. And
it's
then if
probably
you want to
palm oil.
boycott that,
Yeah,
don't buy it.
exactly. You can buy it, but to do a boycott would take millions of people making that change, and it's just not going to happen. So it's looking at sustainable palm oil, and that because 45% of the producers of palm oil in these countries are actually little farmers with small hectares. So what you want to do is look out for sustainable practices. Look at this. Last week, did you have a Valentine's love, Fred?
Oh, I did. I had a Barchi chocolate.
Oh, there you go.
So mine's palm oil free. Palm oil free, but it costs a lot more money, I think, when it's
well,
not
sometimes
palm
you make
oil.
a choice for quality, doesn't it? So
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you do that when you're looking into. I guess it depends on what you value. I always would rather a better chocolate than a.
I want to know if Cheezels. I think Cheezels, but one of my
I'm pretty
favourite
sure
products.
that would be palm oil.
Oh, I hate them. I never eat them
Your
again.
face is lying.
I love Cheezels. And do you know what's really weird about, you know how you know when something's got palm oil? If you set it, not that I light my Cheezels up,
Yeah.
but apparently if you light a Cheezel up, it just goes like a ball of flame.
Do you think that's the palm
Yeah,
oil?
I reckon it is palm oil, and it actually just burns
I don't
the
think
whole
you should
house
be
down.
eating Cheezels, Fred. But we're diverting here.
Sorry.
Focus.
So
we're
what do we
talking
need to
about
do?
palm
I know
oil.
we've got a minute
You
and a
need
half.
to talk
Yep.
about labelling. Look at the labels, and if
Yep.
you want to boycott, then maybe choose a product that is from a sustainable
And
provider.
sustainable means what?
Sustainable means that they've got a stamp. So it says CSPO on it. And
CSPO.
that means that they either following sustainable practices or they are committed to changing by the end of this year. However, there are people who sell brand labels such as green palm. You can actually buy this label off the
So it's
internet.
fake.
So it's called greenwashing, saying
it's confusing
we're
people.
green, we support sustainable practices, but it doesn't mean they're actually
necessarily
sustainable.
do it.
So think about it. Think about what the tricky labelling that they do.
Isn't it amazing? They waste so much money getting a label so that people think they're doing it. Why don't you just do it?
Yeah, well, exactly, but it's money. Okay, next of all, we want to
Yep.
maybe send in some letters. So write to major companies and
Yep.
say, I don't want to buy your product because you're not providing us with sustainable palm oil. Get your friends to write letters. Don't be mouthy with them. We want to
Yep.
be supportive. We want to support your company. Please convert to this, and start a little petition if you're really passionate about it. Look it up. If you look at all these animals, you get really passionate about what's happening over
Exactly.
there. It's pretty easy to be removed from it because it's not in Australia.
Yep.
But this is very real, and it's happening, and it affects a lot of people, a lot of animals, and eventually with climate change, it's affecting us.
And we all travel to Asia too, so those countries need a lot of pressure put on them too, so they don't have to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They keep the forests there, especially Peru and places like that.
Well,
where they
I
cut down
mean,
the
yeah,
forests.
ecotourism. I mean, who wouldn't want to go and see these beautiful natural habitats? But they're
Exactly.
becoming smaller and smaller. So
And bring your own Cheezels from home.
keep
Cara
away
Walker,
from the
there's more on
cheese.
your website, which is, of course, your website address.
ecofairies.com. So
on screen right
it is
now.
on screen right now. Thank
Well
you very
done.
much, Fred.
And can people find out more information about
You
palm
can.
oil?
So
Beautiful.
please head to the Couch website, thecouch.com.au, and click on the segment guide. You'll find all of the beautiful smiling faces of our presenters, and you can follow through to find Eco Fairies from there.
Thanks for keeping us green. That is, of course, Faerie Cara Walker. She'll be back on the couch very, very soon. Don't forget thecouch.com.au. We've got a wonderful friend of mine. His name is Alan Fletcher. You know him as Dr. Karl. We're going to be celebrating the 30 years of Neighbours coming up on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Well done. Well, welcome back to the couch here on Aurora Television, Foxtel around Australia. One of our good friends is Network 10 here at the couch, and one of my favourite shows is the one called Neighbours. And on the phone today to celebrate 30 years of Neighbours that's coming up in March is Dr. Karl, or known to us all in real life as Alan Fletcher. Hello, Alan. Thank you for being on the couch today.
Oh, it's a great pleasure. Good to speak to you, Fred.
Do people call you Dr. Karl more than they call you Alan?
Yes, I probably do. Anyone who calls me Alan, I think I'm in trouble. No, I don't let anyone call me Alan anymore. Most people I know call me Fletch, but I feel like I'm in strife if someone says Alan.
Have you-
But I certainly probably get called Karl a lot. But
Have you ever?
sometimes even people I know call me Karl.
Do you ever have the situation where people think you're a real doctor? I mean, after 22 years on Neighbours?
No, only in my own family, really. My family likes to bring me up and ask me to give a bit of a diagnosis if they're feeling crook. But I'm very careful about not doing any medical work. I think the AMA might be a bit furious with me.
Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know you started in television. You're probably going to say you started before Cop Shop, but is that where you started your career?
No, I started in Perth, actually. I started my career working with John Wilson, who sadly has only just passed away.
Mm-hmm. John
ran the Hole in the Wall Theatre in Subiaco, and I did 18 months working at that theatre, doing back-to-back plays, and then moved across to the National Theatre in Perth, where I did another 18 months of back-to-back plays. A little bit of television in Perth, not significant amount, before I toured with Arthur Lowe around New Zealand and then back to Perth before moving across to the eastern states, where bulk of my television work started, with Cop Shop being the first big show I was in.
And do you ever come back to Perth? Because I know your brother Rob Fletcher works with me at 6PR. But
that's right.
Robbie's there. Do you travel back here very often? Well,
not as often as I should, to be sad to say. My dad's still there, and I need to get over and see Dad a bit more often, and my brother John and brother dear Bobby. But it's just a bit hard to get over it.
I know. I could probably organise a couple of music gigs, because I know how passionate you are about your music.
That would be the go. Thank you. If you wouldn't mind, that'd be brilliant, Fred.
No worries. Now, I said 22 years, but you've been in Neighbours for 25 years. Is that right?
No, I've been in Neighbours for 20, but I did do 3 weeks as another character in 1987. So if you wanted to add that 7 years in, you could say that my relationship with Neighbours started 27 years ago.
Now, am I right in saying that you didn't start as Dr. Kyle? You were another actor working in Allendale's garage. Is that right?
That's right. I played Greg Cooper. I was the mechanic who came in to supervise Charlene, or Kylie Minogue's character, because the mechanic had left, and there was a 3-week lag before Nick Carafa would come into the show. And so Kylie, of course, being an apprentice mechanic, had to have a mechanic supervising her. So they brought me in for 3 weeks, and they're quite a nice little storyline, actually. It was great.
Do you know, I followed your Nunawading studio where you record Neighbours for many years, because I was a big fan of Prisoner. And the amazing, you record Neighbours in the old Prisoner studio, and what amazes me, yourselves and Prisoner had the art of recycling actors, where they'd bring someone in like Alf from Home and Away, would come in as a villain, get killed off, and then 6 years later come back as the governor of the prison. You guys did this. You do the same in Neighbours with a lot of characters.
Yeah, that is quite true. Sometimes too, we have characters that come in as guest characters, and when they find out that they're very popular with the public as a guest character, their role is actually expanded, and they come back as a main character. So that's not uncommon as well.
Alan, talking about Neighbours, 30 years. Are you excited to be in a show? What does it feel like to be in a show that's been an icon in the Australian community and around the world for 30 years?
Well, there's obviously, everyone always talks about there being personal accolades in the acting world. They talk about Oscars and Logies and all that sort of stuff. But for me, being part of a team, being part of an ensemble, is actually far more important. And the 30th anniversary is almost like you're in a football team and you're playing the grand final. It's and winning. It's a fantastic achievement for a show. We're the longest-running drama program in Australian history, one of the most successful exported shows anywhere in the world. I've just been to Iceland, where half the population watch Neighbours, with a band gig up there.
It's amazing.
It's amazing to be known all around the world.
I have to ask you, the move to Channel 11, I know it's a bit controversial because they're talking about it at the moment, where the public feels that it should move back to Channel 10. I'm one of those that says it should move back to Network 10. But how do you think that's affected the show itself, moving to 11?
Well, I mean, what it does is it concentrates the audience. And the face of television has changed to the point where there's so much on offer that what programs try and do now is they aim for niche markets. So by being on 11, it means that Neighbours can focus its attention on the market that the show is ideal for, and it doesn't have to try and win viewers from a demographic that aren't likely to watch the show anyway. So it means that shows can basically focus themselves and become very, very, very focused on their target audience.
Do you know,
I think the move to 11's worked very well for Neighbours. We remain one of the top-rated digital programs in the country. Most days we have a top-rated digital program on air. So it's been a massive success to have us on 11, really, as a flagship program.
You've got an amazing cast. I mean, Colette Mann is one of my favourite. Of course, another ex-prisoner is your wife, who plays Susan, who plays your wife in Neighbours, has been there for, 20 years as well? You've just recently celebrated that?
Yes, 20 years with me, yes, Jackie Woodburn. Gorge, and she also played my sister in Cop Shop many years ago as well. That's when our friendship first started.
When you describe the cast, how would you describe it? Because I know a couple of years ago you've had a brand new lot of cast members come in, and now you're bringing back some of the old for the 30 years celebration. How, for those people who have just caught Neighbours, how would you describe the new cast?
Well, it is. The word family is much used at Neighbours. People sort of think, oh, family, really, they can't be as close as family, but we are. Most of us spend more time in each other's company as a cast than we often do with our wives and lovers, and it's there's an irony about that. We all have to get on. There can't be any egos. So it's a wonderfully supportive environment where everyone cares about each other and everyone makes sure that they know how the other's getting on and how life is for them. So I think it's an extraordinary environment to be in. Very friendly, very warm.
Alan, I have to tell you, I've watched Neighbours since the start. It was on Channel 7, which was a bad thing, and then it went to Channel 10, and I haven't stopped watching you. I think compared to Home and Away, I think Neighbours is, and I don't expect you to criticise Home and Away, but I think to me it's more real. The actors are better, and it's the topics that you cover are more in tune with society, and I love that about Neighbours. The 30-year celebration, what are we having on TV in March? What's happening with that one?
What's happening is that basically there's a major event happens at Erinsborough, a big festival, and it's a lovely vehicle to bring people back to the show. Delta Goodrum coming back, she performs at the festival. Of course, Harold and Madge. Harold's back on our TV screens in a matter of days.
And I hear Madge is coming back from the death.
Yes, yeah, indeed. This is a very sensitive and well done storyline. This one, very moving actually. Great idea to have Madge in the show. There's so many wonderful Clark. Des Clark comes back into the program.
Is Kylie coming back? Kylie Minogue? Is Kylie coming in?
No. Kylie very very kindly, along with Jason and Guy Pearce and many other actors, actually appear in a 1.5-hour documentary that Fremantle Media has made about Neighbours.
Fantastic.
That will air around the same time. A fantastic documentary, which with all everybody from the past talking about the show, and so lots of wonderful footage. So I think that people are going to thoroughly enjoy that documentary, as well as the 2 weeks of celebrations that I'll see on air.
Alan, I watched I think your first episode when you guys came to Ramsay Street, and it was quite interesting. I think your words were, I'm so glad to be in a suburb where we can just be ourselves, nobody knows anything about us, and we can keep private. It's been nothing but that was obviously wrong 20 years ago. Looking at the future for you and your character, are we still going to see the tight-ass doctor there, or are we going to lose that and you're going to become a little bit more easy with your money? New storylines?
Oh, no, I don't think Karl will ever start slinging his money around. He's a little bit too caught up with hanging on to his dosh. No, it's that's a very big part of his character. But the funny thing is, even though he's tight with money, of course he's extremely generous of spirit, and I think that's one of the things that people like about the character, is that he's got his quirky, funny little foibles. He's got his frailties. He's got a lot of flaws, but the character is also a very generous and supportive person.
Any chance that we might have Waiting Room appear on the show? Are you going to write that into your new contract, that they have to at least give you one performance a month?
I can tell you now, Fred, there's no hope in hell.
That's a shame.
Would never happen.
You obviously love your music. For people who don't know, I've seen some of the clips that we're showing on air at the moment. Waiting Room, tell us about that.
Oh, that was a band I started 10 years ago, actually, with a couple of Melbourne musos, Tommy Rando and Chris Hawker, and expanded to have a drummer, Jeff Concy, and then also a keyboard player, Peter Foley, came and joined us. And we were very popular with the university circuit in the United Kingdom. We published a solo album, which was very, very well received. We followed that up with a live album, and we've been touring for a long time. These days, we don't tour overseas because of the cost. But I do have a band in the UK I work with as well, and we, as I say, we recently played Iceland as well.
Fantastic.
So, it's actually been a fantastic, fun thing for me to do, play a bit of rock and roll and write some music and do all that. And, it's the sort of thing I hope people will get out and have a listen to it too. I'm pretty proud of some of the work we've done. We do some wonderful fun gigs.
Now, you've also got a fantastic website, of course, alanfletcher.net, where people can find out all about your band and all about your Neighbours and everything else that you're doing. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. I do most of my stuff through my website. I'm very big on social media, Twitter and all that sort of thing. Love it. And I communicate with my fan base really, really strongly. Through my website, I actually invite people to be subscribers, and I send them a birthday card on their birthday and that sort of thing, and lots of free music. There's free music downloads, and that sort of communication is fantastic. I get a lot of requests from fans for things like little wedding videos and things. I'm more than happy to do it. It's a great way to share our mutual love of Neighbours, and actually form quite close relationships with the people who support me.
And I have to say, I love the fact that you used to, on a Friday night, perform in a pub in Melbourne, I think. I'm not too sure if you still do it on Friday nights, but it was yourself.
No, at the moment that's in abeyance, but we're actually just negotiating with another venue.
Fantastic. Now, also, I wanted to touch on your personal life. You're still married to Jennifer Hansen. You've got a couple of kids as well. Now, of course, Jennifer used to be a 10 News reporter. Now she works on, is it Smooth FM?
She's at Smooth FM, breakfast radio newsreader, which is a pretty testing job for her, given the hours. But, Jen and I, on the 18th of March, which is when Neighbours turns 30, Jen and I celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations. That's a great achievement. And has she lived with Dr. Karl for all those years then? 20 years?
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
She was there at the beginning.
Alan, you're also an ambassador for Blue September, which is a charity that you absolutely love.
Blue September. Yeah, I like to associate myself with health charities as much as possible. I do a lot of work for Bowel Cancer Australia. Blue September, of course, raises awareness about men's cancers. Jen and I over the years have been involved with a number of issues like SIDS, and last night with my wife actually organised a fantastic fundraiser, helped organise a fundraiser for the cardiac unit at St Vincent's Hospital. I think it's a good fit that I play a television doctor, and so I like to try and lend my hand to as many medical causes as I can, where I can be of some assistance.
Look, Alan, I have to say you're probably one of the most popular actors as far as I'm concerned. You're down to earth, you're always yourself, you're always willing to support people and always be willing to do an interview. I just want to touch on one thing before we say goodbye to you for today. The 6th anniversary of the Eurovision Song Contest. There's been stories that you're going to perform or you're going to enter, is that right?
I did some interviews for the UK when as soon as it was announced that Australia was a wild card entry into this Eurovision coming up. Of course, I said jokingly that I would love to represent Australia. At the time, I placed myself about 750th on the list of likely performers. As a bit of a laugh, of course, it's fun to talk about the idea of Dr. Karl going to Eurovision, but Eurovision is something that's a phenomenon unto itself. It's quite camp. It's enormous fun.
Perfect.
It's got outrageousness to it, attached to it. And also the SBS coverage of Eurovision for the last 30 years, I think, is one of the big reasons why Australia is going. So hats off to Julie Zamiro and Sam Pang, because they put on a great show when it's on. So I hope everyone in Australia takes a lot of interest in Eurovision this year and gets behind the spirit of it.
Well, I reckon if you're involved, we're going to be more interested. And I can just see you now, if you can get Fremantle as a sponsor you or support you, you could probably sing the Neighbours song internationally. Could you imagine the result of the ratings after that? Dr. Karl at Eurovision. Well, good luck with that. The celebration for Neighbours, when are we expecting to see the shows? It was the 13th of March, you said?
I think the actual day of the 30th anniversary is the 18th of March.
18th of March.
And we'll be seeing shows around that time for 2 weeks around that time for the 30th anniversary.
And just before we say thank you and goodbye, can you give me a little bit of something that nobody else knows about what's happening with Dr. Karl and Alan Fletcher now? Is there a little storyline you can maybe sneak for me?
Well, I'll put it this way. The other day I had to actually remove hair from as many parts of my body as I possibly can.
You had to remove hair?
I had to remove hair from my...
Oh, and it's not just the tattoo with the wrong name on it anymore.
Well, I'm going to let you speculate about what that means, but yes, at the moment, Dr. Karl is...
A new smooth Dr. Karl. Very smooth. Well, congratulations on being such a great person on Neighbours. We love you as Dr. Karl. We love you as Alan Fletcher. Keep doing what you do. We'll check out your website, which is, of course, alanfletcher.net for all the latest details. And, of course, neighbours.com has a lot more clips and everything about you and the whole cast. Congratulations. Thanks for being a great person. And thank you for spending some time with us today.
That's awesome, Fred. Thank you, mate, and all the best to your viewers.
Good on you, Alan. Thank you very much. Okay.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
That is Alan Fletcher,
Bye.
of course. Thank you, Alan. And you got to love him as well. Now, Fasta Pasta, somebody else. I feel a bit hungry after talking to Dr. Karl. And I know Karl would probably love to come with me. If you would like to win a $50 voucher thanks to Fasta Pasta, and you haven't caught their $8.90 meals, check this out.
At Fasta Pasta, you've loved our 8 for $8.90 lunches so much, we've brought back your favourite 8 for $8.90 lunches. Your favourite 8 for $8.90 lunches, only at Fasta Pasta.
And now this is how easy it is to enter. All you have to do is put the word Fasta Pasta, spelled like it is on screen, folks. You must also include your name and your address. Please, your name and address. A lot of people don't put their name and address. We have to cancel those entries. Fasta Pasta must be on there. Send it to 0439 929 929 anywhere in Australia, as per the screen. 0439 929 929. The word Fasta Pasta, your name and address, and we will pick one lucky winner every week thanks to our good friends at Fasta Pasta. And if you eat Fasta Pasta all the time, sometimes your feet start to hurt if it's got too much sugar. And if that's the case, you have to see a podiatrist. And with us in the studio today is Sarah Carter. She's the podiatrist from UWA.
Thanks for having
Welcome.
me, Fred.
Do you watch Neighbours?
No,
that's
unfortunately
a
I don't.
You could be that 50 millionth and one person.
I could be.
But you remember Dr. Karl, don't you?
I do. Everyone remembers Dr. Karl.
Now, you're a real doctor when it comes to podiatry.
Yes,
And you're at UWA. Tell us a little bit about Sarah.
Well, my background obviously podiatry, and then I went and did my master's in Scotland in motion analysis, and so now I'm doing my PhD on the biomechanics of ballet dancers through
Tell us what that
UWA
is.
and WAPA.
So for those people who don't know, biomechanics.
Biomechanics. So it's the study of the movement of the body.
Okay.
So basically, if anyone's seen some motion capture stuff for when they did like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, how they put dots,
The dots,
on
the white dots.
Yeah. So I do that, but on dancers. So we cover them in their dots, and then they may perform a routine, or they just might perform one movement, and then we can record and compare theirs to someone else's or theirs to a couple of years' time.
And what are we hoping to find from that?
We're trying to find out whether their alignment or whether their movement might be putting them at greater risk of an injury, so that we can sort of correct that now before they actually develop an injury.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And how far have we got with the research? How well
Very
is it
early days. I start data collection at the end of February. So this is with the first and second years and third years at WAPA.
And do you need anyone to help you with the research, like ballet dancers, or you got all that?
We've got all that, so we're just mainly
I am
focusing...
available.
Well, that would be lovely.
I just need to have the other person that's willing to have me thrown at them, because you have more than just feet problems, I reckon. Is being a podiatrist, now you're a young podiatrist. How long have you been a podiatrist?
I started in 2010.
So you're still quite young, only 4 or 5 years ago now.
I'm still quite young, yeah.
You also run a fantastic clinic, and I have to tell people I'm a diabetic, and I go to a clinic that's run at UWA, which is the University of WA here in Netherlands. And the greatest thing about this clinic is it looks after your feet. Tell us a little bit more in detail what the clinic does.
Well, it's kind of set up like a hospital setting. So we've got 10 treatment rooms, and there'll be a student in each one. We have 2 clinical supervisors sort of going in between the clinical rooms while everyone's got a patient. And obviously the students are completely supervised during a lot of the procedures, but it has a more one-on-one, they try and explain things, they're learning, so then you also learn about yourself in a bit more detail of what your condition is.
And that's one thing I noticed, because I go there, and I've got my own health insurance, but I decided to go to UWA because they're more in depth. They really are so interested, because you've got students that really want to know what your problem is. And I've got it in between my toes. I have a little bit of a soft corn.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the moment, cutting it out constantly, but now they're looking at maybe webbing my feet.
Yes, yes.
Whereas my podiatrist, God bless him, Tom, is really only there to cure the symptoms, not the problem. And I love the fact that you guys are so into solving the problem long term. And a lot of people don't know how can they, if they have got feet problem and they can't afford to go and see a very expensive podiatrist, they can come down to UWA?
Yes, yes.
What do they need to do to be able to, do they need a referral or anything?
They don't need a referral at all. You can access it by just looking at our website, so the UWA Podiatry Clinic. And from there they can get the phone number. We're open on Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yep.
And they can get an appointment that day, or even a few days ahead of time, whatever's good for them really.
And it's fantastic, and it's $40, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's $40 per visit, and you can have other major surgery as well. They can do other stuff, because I know I'm going into the more detailed side of it in the next few weeks.
Yes.
But I just urge people, and I wanted you in today because it is such a great service, and they do rely, to keep open, they do rely on support, and we need more people to go down and use their services, because you've got such great qualified specialists that are in there, Laurie Foley and a couple of other people.
Yep, Alan
people
Bryant,
like yourself.
Myself, yes, Reza Ranagi. So we have quite a few different professionals in different areas. So Laurie being more in high risk, Alan and Reza being more in surgical. And now we've got the surgical postgraduate course. So a lot of the students will also be performing surgeries, more complicated orthopaedic style surgeries.
Fantastic.
And that's performed in our day surgery clinic above the student patient clinic.
Tell us again where it's located, the clinic.
It's located in the corner of Park Avenue and Crawley, in Crawley. And there's parking there, so it's very easy to get to.
Fantastic. That is the UWA Foot Clinic, Podiatry Clinic. Give them a call, Google it if you can't find it, or check out our website. I'll put the details on there. Sarah Carter is the podiatrist there. We love having you on the show today. I'm sorry it's very quick.
That's
Alan
okay,
took up a
Fred.
lot of the time, but we're giving some exposure to the clinic, and we're going to have you back on. I'm hoping we could talk feet problem.
Yes,
in the
I'm
future,
more than happy to come
because
back
I'm sure you're going to
again.
enjoy that. That is Sarah Carter, UWA Podiatry. Please support them. Check out our website, thecouch.com.au, for more details or location. We'll be back with movies and more right after this break. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Welcome back to the couch. We were just looking at our feet in the break, and of course Sarah looked after mine personally, and they're all perfect now. So don't forget the UWA Clinic. It's open for business. Check it out on our website. But someone that doesn't need any foot care, and that's our apart from when he puts it in his mouth, I suppose,
course,
is Cameron Lynch. Is back with new movies. Welcome back.
I love you, Freddie. Don't pussy your foot around the point. So
No,
yes, very
no.
good. We have some movies to look at today.
Okay, what do we got?
We have 2 sci-fi films and a bit of one for the a bit of a heartfelt, heartwarming one for the older
Jupiter's
generation.
Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending, starring hot Hollywood hunk of the moment Channing Tatum and a hottie in her own right, Mila Kunis. This is the latest offering from the Wachowski brothers, I'm not too sure how you pronounce it, who are responsible for the Matrix trilogy, and who I actually have to have an addendum. They're no longer the Wachowski brothers, because one's undergone successful gender reassignment.
That's the one.
So it's the Wachowski brother and sister.
Siblings.
Yes, but a transformation of a gender unfortunately does not transfer the genre in this for the sci-fi epic is a bit of a blowout. Currently rating at 22% on Rotten
So you're
Tomatoes.
basically saying it's still crap.
Yeah, again, it's all spectacle, but not much substance. Essentially, and it's a very played out plot. Unfortunately, Mila Kunis is a sort of down and out working person, but she's sort of born under a charmed star and is going to become like this
Where
queen
is she
of space
famous
or something.
for?
From.
Where else has she been?
Her first, I think, cutting of teeth or main exploit into fame was That 70s Show, and then she's voiced Meg from the Family Guy TV series and stuff like that. Not that, yeah.
And of course, Channing Tatum.
Yeah,
Is that how you pronounce it?
Tatum. Yes.
Famous for Sonia Rayner, our camera woman's poster on a wall.
Of course, naturally, yes, and that's pretty much that. Oh, and Magic Mike 2, which is coming out shortly.
Well, you know what? He beat me. He only beat me by a couple of centimetres.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying what it was that they were measuring, but I could have been Magic Mike.
Dance talent, I'm sure, is 100%. Yeah, it's like I said, 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not getting great reviews. Basically saying it's all visually, it's fantastic, but it unfortunately begins and ends there with the pros. But I'm impressed with this trailer. Let's have a look.
Your planet was seeded by brass axe industries roughly 100,000 years ago.
It's one of the most powerful dynasties in the universe. There are 3 primary heirs. The oldest is Belem. He's the one that controls this planet and wants you dead.
I am telling you, I am nobody.
You are royalty.
What about the girl? Still alive.
Bring her to me.
When the exact same genes reappear in the exact same order, it is what you call reincarnation.
Majesty's life is going to change, if she wants it to.
I'm still the same me. Right now, Balem owns the title to Earth. Once you claim it, the Earth will belong to you.
I will harvest that planet tomorrow before I let her take it from me.
Have you ever seen a harvest?
Never. But I've heard they feel no pain.
Here we go.
Jupiter Ascending. Like I said, a lot of action, a lot of visuals, but apparently story-wise not so great. But if you're a fan of the leads, Sean Bean's in it as well. A lot of people speculating that he will die in it. As a bit of an in-joke as to Sean Bean's typecasting. Is out on release on the 19th, so you can make your judgment then.
A week. What's next?
Next is Project Almanac. It's also a sci-fi film starring pretty much nobody. It's one of these shaky cam found footage films essentially, but this one's instead of sort of ghosts or supernatural powers, it's basically time travel this time. The promo I watched didn't really show great examples of acting ability, but I think people, the reviews have been saying it's been quite good in its original concept, especially with sort of the shaky cam found footage, but they say it is that shaky cam that makes it almost unwatchable. The general consensus, I think it's getting about 38% Rotten Tomatoes at the moment. The general consensus is it's not without wit originality, but its thin story and irritating found footage camera work ultimately makes it difficult to recommend. And one reviewer, Kevin Carr for 7M Pictures, pretty much summed it up himself saying it's dumb, so dumb in fact, it makes the science behind Sharknado seem sound. This is Project Almanac. Let's have a look.
This is what you need to do. Go over there and pretend like you just don't care.
David has no chance with her.
Shut up, I'm still right here, Chris.
Are you trying to communicate with me telepathically? What is this?
That's my 7th birthday. Whoa, did you see that? Hold on a sec.
What?
I just saw something weird. You guys, you gotta see this. Right there. Look in the mirror.
Dude, that can't be.
That's definitely me. We need to figure out what I'm doing on the stage. You hear that? It's in my dad's old workshop. It's like a clicking or something.
What the hell is that? Here we go, Project Almanac. Temporal relocation prototype? What does that mean?
It means time travel.
We should try to build it.
You guys are crazy. We can't build a time machine.
Did you see the tape? I mean, I think we already did build it.
All right, you guys ready for this?
We did it!
It's yesterday!
You're broke, you're getting bullied, so let's take this thing out for a spin.
Are you trying to communicate with me
Telepathically.
How did you know I was gonna say that?
Do you think we can go to jail for cheating on the lottery?
You guys only got 5 out of 6 numbers.
We have to go back and do it again. I am not winning the lottery twice. That's me sleeping. What? Oh my God, what's happening? What? Are you seeing this? Whatever we did had some crazy ripple effects.
There was a plane crash, riots, disasters. None of this happened before.
Things are spiraling out of control.
You didn't care that all of your friends could be hurt?
Jesse's missing and no one can find her.
David, it's me. David,
No!
I'm going back to the beginning.
It could kill you.
That's the only way to stop all this from happening.
No, shoot!
Project Almanac. Some
lost.
of the reviews are saying that they wish they could invent time machines so they can get their time back and not seeing this film. But that's out 22nd of February, so enjoy it if you will. 3 words though, producer Michael Bay. Oh, heed that warning. But otherwise, yeah, it could be.
I had 3 words too. I'm very sorry, distributors, but that's 4 words. I'm sorry, distributors.
And last but not least, we have some good news in the form of the 2nd Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Looking forward to this one.
I haven't seen the first one, but based on the two movies we just looked at, I am looking forward to this one because I think I'd rather see it in lieu of those other ones. Essentially, Maggie Smith and Dame Judi Dench and Bill Nighy and I've forgotten his name, Dev Patel playing Sonny, are all back in the second outing of basically creating a chain of exotic marigolds as the second. But in addition to the cast this year is a one in Mr. Richard Gere,
Really?
which yes elicits some female response from the peanut gallery here. But my partner unfortunately reviled when she saw him on the screen and said, "Oh no, he's now officially old." And basically,
she's probably right. Officially,
well, it's kind of putting yourself out to pasture when you come into this. It is a feel-good comedy. It probably will replicate the success last year it made, or the last one in 2012, on a budget of 10 million, made about 140 million back.
Wow, that's
so
not
it
bad.
did do
Good
pretty
odds.
well, rocking about an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, actually kind of looking forward to seeing this and hopefully seeing the first one as well. The second Exotic Marigold Hotel. Let's have a look.
The Marigold Hotel is full up, so we have to expand.
A chain of hotels stretching across India and beyond for those such as this great lady who had the chance to say, why die here when I can die there?
She must be the reason why things are going so smoothly.
It takes teamwork to make a dream work, Mummy ji.
Careful, you'll never get back up again.
Oh, you're still in one slightly sagging piece, I see.
How long have you guys been together?
We're not together.
Good night.
No, no.
Well, we're not together.
Another new guest. Like lemmings, they come to the cliff edge. That is the best exotic marigold hotel.
Lordy Lord, have mercy on my ovaries.
I wanted to ask you about your mother.
My mother?
I was really struck by her.
Are you pimping out your own mother?
No, not at all, no. Although, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let us travel to the new jewel in my crown, the pearl in my oyster, the second best exotic marigold hotel!
Go and knock 'em dead.
Yes, madam.
How many new lives can we have? As many as we like.
Hello, Douglas. Hello, Evelyn. I couldn't resist the chance to come out and visit the old crumbling ruins and see how the hotel was doing as well.
There you go. That's the second best Marigold Hotel coming out very, very soon.
Yes, 26th of February.
So let's have a look at the top 5 movies for this week, and they are as follows. At number 5,
Paper Planes.
Number 4,
The Imitation Game.
Number 3,
The Theory of Everything.
Number 2,
American Sniper.
and at number 1.
And a top action film, Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Thank you very much to Cameron Lynch. Have a nice 4-week break while we're away.
I will.
And thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure.
We're right out of time. We need to take a break. Come back with more of The Couch. Stay tuned right after this. Welcome back to The Couch here on Aurora Television around Australia. It gives me great pleasure to speak to our next guest. She's all the way in Sydney. She's a great author. Her name is Madilina Tresca. We've got her on the phone. Hello, Madilina. How are you?
Good, thanks, Fred. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for making yourself available today to talk about this great book called The White Rose.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself as an author.
As an author, okay. Well, I'm a first-time author. I guess I've always wanted. It's a lifelong dream that I've had to write. However, at the turn of the century, I embarked on a new career in IT. So for the last 10 or 12 years, I've been on a huge technical journey. But I've always had the writer in me, you know, sort of edging, pushing me to get out there as a writer. And I've always, the plot that is The White Rose has always been with me. And then certain events happened at the end of 2009. And long story short, for the last 3 years, I've been researching and writing my book, and I find myself here talking to you.
Now, the book's called The White Rose, and I'm just reading from one of the press releases. The superstitions of Sydney's Italian community have been recreated in The White Rose. Tell us how that all happened.
Well, I'm Australian born, but I'm the daughter of Italian migrants. And when I was a little girl, I used to love listening to stories that my mother would tell me about her maternal mother, about her superstitions. One of my favourite one is that when my mother used to say, "Oh, mamma, mi fa male la testa," I've got a headache.
Oh,
my grandmother would get out her bowl of water.
Are you talking about
Sorry?
the malocchio? Is that what you're going to talk about?
The malocchio.
Is that what we're talking?
No, I wasn't going to talk about the malocchio.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Carry on.
It's interesting that you say that, but my grandmother used to have this bowl of water.
Yes.
She would fill the bowl with water, drip a certain number of drops of olive oil, look over the bowl, and just watch the drops take shape. And then she would sort of pause and wait. And then when the identity of the gossiper was revealed to her, she'd swear under her breath, make my mother laugh, and cure the headache at the same time.
Now, we used to do that as well, because I'm Calabrese and you're Bruzzese, and we used to call that the contro malocchio, which means against the evil eye. And what used to happen is, if, say, there was 5 people at work and they were all talking about you, you'd go home with a massive headache. My mum would use the water with the bowl, and then she'd drop the oil in there, and there'd be 5 lots of oil, and sometimes you put hair in there as well. And then she'd put salt and scissors and cut through all the bubbles, and then redo it again.
Fascinating.
Isn't it funny? And
So quirky, isn't it?
And I'm assuming your grandmother told you a lot of superstitious stories.
Unfortunately, I never met her. My mother migrated to Australia. I guess that was the last time she saw her mother. And my maternal grandmother died when I was in primary school, so I never met her, unfortunately. Yeah.
So is the book, when you target the book, who are we targeting it to? What sort of people?
Okay, all ages, men and women. The centre of the universe of my book is a deck of tarot cards, and this tarot cards is possessed by an evil spirit. There are descendants of 2 families that live at opposite ends of Sydney that are at the mercy of this card. Now, what's the origin of this evil spirit? And will the future descendants ever be freed of this evil spirit? Well, you'll have to read my book. But each generation, this evil spirit reveals itself with disastrous results. Unfortunately, only one of these 2 families knows the secret of the origin of this evil, and only the descendants of this one family can touch these cards. And so if you want to know what happens to this to the future descendants, I guess you just have to read my book.
Oh, look, Madilina, I'm just up to the last page. I'm just about to read the
really?
end.
Good.
And it says, and the resolution is that the evil spirit...
No.
I'm only joking.
No.
I'm only joking.
I'm on my knees begging.
No, look, no need to beg. It's another superstitious thing Italians do. They beg too much. Now, the book is available. Let me tell you where you can get the book from. It's www.shortstoppress.com. That's shortstoppress.com. It's on screen right now. It's $24.99. It's suitable for gifts, for birthday presents, Mother's Day, Father's Day, for anybody at all. $24.99. Madilina Tresca, are you writing another book after this one?
Yes, I'm thinking of one at the moment, yes.
What's it about? Just quickly.
Oh, no.
Not going to tell me?
Let me work on it first.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you all the best of luck with the White Rose. Thank you for spending some time with us today. And don't walk under any ladders, or make sure your toilet paper's topped up in the toilet as well, because Italians always make sure when they've got visitors that the toilet paper's topped up.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you.
Good on you, Madilina. Good luck with the book, and thanks for being on the phone today. And we hope heaps of people buy the book.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
done.
you very much. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
That is Madilina Tresca. I'm sorry we had to hurry that one up because we're right out of time. We had a wonderful young performer closing the show today. I'm so tired. Siobhan, here she is. She's going to close the door today on the show. It's called a beautiful song which she wrote herself. It's an original. It's called Latenight Conversations. And this is her CD. It's out right now. It's called Stories. Please look out for it. Go to her Facebook page. Google us. thecouch.com.au. All the details will be on there. Until next week, we're right out of time. Watch Neighbours. Bye-bye.
Late night conversations and mixtape compilations, street lamps flood the pavement, rusty out of tune guitar in the back of a beat up old muscle car, records play in the basement. run out of words to say. I hope that you have a really nice day. And if you're sad, think about how I'm glad to have you.